I'm an alcoholic, and like many alcoholics, after a certain period, I have about 36 years of sobriety, and that was and it still is, oddly enough, one day at a time. And there's a certain tendency I'm 90 years old. Well, now, as of September 20th, I have a disease called IBM, along with alcoholism. And IBM is inclusive body myositis. It's a kind of a muscular deterioration. So lately I fell in March and I am unable to walk since I am confined to the wheelchair and the bed. And it leads to it makes me very bad humored about that, because I've always been an active guy. I was an alcoholic, but also I was a rugby player and a walker and a hiker and a camper and all of that. And also, because alcoholism is a disease that leads to fatalities. In itself, it is fatal, and it is also fatal in many other ways. It leads to people getting shot, falling down. It leads to all sorts of deterioration in life, and it's the only disease I know that is the subject of a lot of humor. You never find anybody making the same jokes about cancer as is done about alcoholism, and it's it breaks up families, causes a lot of violence. And again, it leads to loss of memory, loss of jobs, loss of everything decent in our lives. So a bit of autobiography might be called for here in how does one become an alcoholic? Well, I was born in Brooklyn, and to a pair of Irish immigrants. My mother and father were from, my mother's from the North of Ireland, my father was from the North of Ireland, my mother's from Limerick. My older brother, Frank, was the result of what is laughingly called in Ireland a knee trembler. And they had to get married. So that was that. And then followed very shortly after by myself, followed by twins, and then followed by a little girl, all born in Brooklyn. But what happened was then the little girl died, and my mother suffered a terrible breakdown, and my father took to the drink, which led to people suggesting that she would be better off and would recover in Ireland. Hence, my way of speaking. So we took a ship to Ireland, doing the reverse of most Irish people. We, in 1934, and we went to the north first, where we were not welcome. We went to Limerick, where we were not welcomed by my mother's people. And so we moved from slum to slum to slum. And then, so then my father went to England, and there were the twins had died in the meantime. And my father was on the booze all the time. And whenever, somehow or another, he could get some money to drink, strangely enough. And he went to England to get work and then forgot all about us. So we were deserted. My mother took up with another drunk, and that was a disgraceful thing in Ireland, that she was consorting with another man while she was still married, and he was a brutal, violent drunk who belted the shit out of us at frequent intervals. So that was the story there. Two other kids had been born in the meantime, so there were four of us, and for a long time we lived then in abject and awful poverty in a place that the Holy Family would have turned their noses up at it. They wouldn't have gone a stable. It was worse than a stable. It was not heated, and there was one lavatory outside our door for a whole bunch of families. I grew up in that, and we went to a school. There was a holding pen for convicts, and to reformatory kids bound, but we managed to avoid that. What we did have, one saving thing was the library came to Limerick, and we got to get to read and learn to read, and that was very good, because we did not get much education. My brother and myself left school at 13. And the embarrassment, I haven't taken jobs as messenger boys. The social embarrassment was grinding, because you were just a messenger boy, and that's what you were just condemned to for the rest of your life. A friend of mine, Jackie Adams, who became a Jesuit eventually, stole some money from his brother, and who was working, and we went into a local pub, and we went into the Snug, which is the area which was reserved for women, and we ordered 2 half pints of cider. We were 11. So the barman, dopey man that he was, served us 2 glasses of cider. Then he served us 2 more. And this is alcoholic cider now, mark you. And then we had 2 more. And then we decided we were primed. We were ordered Guinness. So we ordered 2 half pints of Guinness. And then we ordered 2 more half pints. And that went on. Well, I don't know how many of those drinks we had, but we got absolutely pissed drunk. And I had read somewhere that you address your inferiors as my good man. So I said to this barman, my good man will have 2 pints of Guinness, please. And he said, what do you say? I said, my good man, will you give us 2 pints of Guinness? He said, I'll put my boot so far up your arse, he said, I'll be wearing you for a shoe. What the fuck do you think you're talking about, calling me a good man? So the next thing, anyway, he threw us out into the street, and there we were, all roaring laughing. And we went down by the docks, and we sat there looking at the River Shannon, and it was lovely and peaceful and sunny. And we dropped off to sleep, lying down against the wall. And that was my first drunk. I didn't drink again until I was 15. And then it was always for as many drinks as I could get my hands on. I went to England at 15, got a job in the gasworks there, shoveling coal into the whole, keep the gas going and the all around Coventry. And again, drinking and drinking and drinking, even though I was only a kid. So I got onto it fairly early. But the strange thing about it was that I remained coherent and able to speak, even though I think I did anyway. And but there were times when I got involved in fights and all that kind of thing. But there were all the time there was that that awareness of being uneducated and Irish in England. They always called you Paddy. No matter what your name was, they called you Paddy. Oh, Paddy, come on here, Paddy. And so not having an education, and it was quite embarrassing, because even to this day I do not know a grammar, but I've gotten away with a whole lot in my life, lying and everything. And somebody said to me once, "You're a terrible liar." I said, "I am not. I'm very good at it. I've been doing it for years, and I, even to this day, I do spin yarns about myself." So being born in America gave me citizenship. And so my brother Frank came to America. He managed to get some money, and he sent for me, and I came here. And what are you going to do in America? Well, first of all, there was always a possibility that I could drink. So I did that as well. And then I worked as a manual laborer on the docks and around places. And then one night I walked into a theater just to see a couple of Irish plays. And I thought, God, wouldn't it be great to be an actor? So I was walking down the street, and I turned around and went back into the theater. And I said to a guy who was putting up posters, could I speak to the boss? He said, well, I'm the producer. What do you want? I said, I'd like to join your group. What for? I said, I'd like to be an actor. What makes you think you could be an actor? Oh, I'm Irish, I said. And that he laughed and came down off his ladder that he was putting it. And he said, do you have any experience? And I said, I wouldn't need it. I'm Irish. And he said, do you have any pictures? I said, I do. I have a picture of the Sacred Heart of Jesus in my wallet. And he laughed. Anyway, he said, come back and read for us. And I thought that was a literacy test. And I came back and I read. And they put me in this play off Broadway in New York. Well, my God, that was an achievement. And then when I used to go down around the corner to a bar, bringing half the audience with me, and the guy that owned it said, if you're going to bring these people in here, get behind the bar. So I got behind the bar and became a bartender after my acting stints. And then because of how odd it was, I got this job as an actor. There was a guy that came in there, was a producer for he was a booker for the Tonight Show with Jack Tarr at the time. So he said, you should come on the show. So he put me on the show. I went on drunk, and then they kept asking me back on the Tonight Show. So all of a sudden, I am now famous. And I can't get over all this stuff that's going on with me. I mean, I'm still the ignorant guy from, in my own opinion, from Limerick, but I'm drinking and drinking and drinking, and that's giving me a lot of courage. Even one night, somebody said, "Oh, my wife had a baby, drinks on the house." So I said jokingly, "I'll have a bottle of Powers Irish whiskey." So the boss gave it to me, and I drank it, and in an hour, and then a guy bet me I couldn't do that again. So I did, and there was 2 bottles of whiskey in 3 hours, and I thought, yeah, I should have been dead, but I'm not. But here I am. How I survived, I don't know. But then somebody said to me, "How about opening up your own bar?" I said, "Okay." So they financed me. I opened up a bar. It was first singles bar in New York, and it was a terrific success on account of all the publicity on the television and all of that. So then I met this nice heiress, and I thought she's lovely. So I said, "Will you marry me?" So she was not getting along with her parents, and she did it actually married beneath her socially, and that and so that was. We set up shop over house. I would say we had a couple of kids very quick, and then she got fed up of my drinking, so she left me and went back to Park Avenue and broke up that marriage. So that was just another breakout. And I lost the pubs. I had got 2 others in the meantime and lost everything. And then, so then I was wandering about, drinking and carousing. And a guy said to me, "How would you like to do a job that involves travel?" I said, "Sure." So I got a job. He said, "Meet me in Zurich." So I went to Zurich, and he said, I want you to take this stuff to India, smuggle. It was gold bars. So I didn't give a shit at the time. I would risk anything. So I became a gold smuggler to India for a year, all the time drinking and risking getting caught. And at the time there was prohibition in Bombay, but prohibition is no obstacle to an alcoholic. I found out where they had the stuff in this very dark, dirty, smelly, stinky speakeasy. There was a cellar, but I never did get caught at that, and I did it for a year. And I came back, and then somebody said, "How about opening up another bar?" So I did. I drank myself out of that. So I drank myself out of every saloon that I was in. But my acting career was going okay. And I was on series, and I did a lot of. Then I went on radio, and I did that for. That was when I was essentially sober. So I did radio, and I'm still doing radio actually on Sundays, and and I have remarried 56 years ago. Have a couple of kids with that marriage, and I have been sober most of that marriage, and that has worked out quite well. So how I had my recovery has been it has to be the nature of being miraculous. I've come to terms with a whole lot of things, including religion. I am an atheist, thank God, and I I'm a very I don't wish anybody happiness. I always wish them serenity, because happiness I find is transient. And so is unhappiness. Unhappiness follows happiness. So I wish people serene lives, and I wish that for myself. Uh, I am. I have a disease uh, which is they call it progressive. And I think no, it's not. It's going back. I'm getting more crippled by the day, but so I can't walk anymore. I'm as I say, confined to a wheelchair, and I'm. But outside of all that, I still read. And then my brother wrote a book about life in Ireland, in Limerick, called Angela's Ashes, and that became a huge success. I mean, it was read by 12 million people bought it, and and they made it into a movie. And then somebody said, "You must have a book in you." So I said, I don't know. So I'll have a go at it. So I did. And to my astonishment, they did. I wrote a book called The Monk Swimming, which was based on my mishearing of the Hail Mary, which I thought, which is a mondegreen. It's a Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with thee. Blessed art thou amongst women. And I thought it said a monk swimming. And that's why I called the book that. And it became a bestseller on the New York Times bestseller list. And then I wrote another one and another one. So now I have 10 books assembled, edited, and also written by myself. So all of that was not too bad for a guy that never went beyond 13 into school. And what is it? But it is really sobriety. It will allow you achieve so much when you can think things through, when you can be sensible, when you can be, you can be loving. I have a habit of telling my beloved Diana every morning, "I love you." I start the day that way, and I embrace her. And we know Irish men have great difficulty with words of love. It's sort of you know, oh, you're a softie or sissy-ish or something like that. But then there's also the philosophical things about alcoholism itself. And so many great writers were alcoholic, Brendan Behan being one, and Oscar Wilde being another. And it just kills you, and it kills whatever creativity you have. And it's so cruel to our families, and it's so stupid, really. And and I can't. I do philosophize a bit about it, but I'm liking my life, even though I get. I mean, I'm now well acquainted with my ceiling because of this disease, but I just have. I don't. I'm. There are times when I would like to have a drink. I'm just one, I would say to myself, but I know damn well that that's not going to be the case. And it would lead me, I think I'm crippled now, but I mean, not disabled, I should say, but I would be totally disabled if I ever took up the drink again. I will now have a drink of water. I joined the group in Hollywood of AA, and then I come back to New York and joined the Monday. My favorite group here is Monday Men's. So I joined those now on Zoom every Monday nights. Coincidentally, they take place on Monday night, which I think is very amazing. And that is it for me. So it's about 36 years now. And I find it it's so nice not to have to drink. And I find myself wondering, when I look at what happened to my father, he disappeared off the face of this earth. My mother took up with a drunk, and he was a cruel, nasty, awful, disliked individuals. And that has not happened to me. I'm able to I get along great with my kids and my grandchildren. I'm in love with my wife, and she with me, I do believe. And that's what it does. That sobriety is not, the word sober sounds like dull, lifeless, gray, miserable. But it's lively, it's joyful, it is humorous in so many ways. And there is nothing painful about sobriety. But alcoholism turns out to be very painful and murderous. I mean, had I been caught smuggling gold in India, they would have put me in jail they would give you 5 years was the minimum sentence. And no Westerners survive Indian jails because of the conditions there. So how I escaped, I guess it was bravado and all of that. But the drink was, that's what that allowed me to do. It made me brave, as I thought it was. But I'm stupid to ever have done that. So it's I highly recommend sobriety. It's a good thing. And if when we know anybody that is, I offer help. And if it's accepted, so be it. If it's not accepted, well, then we can't afford. My own sobriety is essential and life-giving for me. And if you can call it, people can say that's selfish. Well, maybe, but there's no way I can do anything for anybody else unless I am doing it for myself, numero uno, as we say in the ancient Gaelic. And that's where I am today, 90. I don't wish you a happy new year because I don't live by years. I wish you a serene day tomorrow.
All right.
And that's about all we have. And if we happen to live another year, right, may that be serene, and we'll keep it at that. So that's where I am, and I don't know what the procedure is now, but
Malachi, would just like to thank you. You've really honored the Lutheran Online Group with your shares and your stories. Wonderful having you.
I